Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment's 32 teams, 32 days, and today we are talking about the Green Bay Packers. And finally, we will not have to debate in the comment section, as I'm sure all of us can agree that the Green Bay Packers are a damn good team. So there'll be no debates today, but hopefully that's the case. But obviously there's going to be some, because people will always argue for some reason. I'll never understand why. We're talking Green Bay Packers today. Remember to head over to sportsfanentertainment.com for the article previewing the Packers season. It will not be written by me, so you'll have a different perspective, but still, I'm sure we'll be pretty damn close in terms of our opinions. How can you just disagree on this Packers team? It's damn good. And we start by talking about their strengths. We start at the quarterback position, Aaron Rodgers. Now, we can debate who's better between he and Tom Brady. And I love me some Tom Brady. But Aaron Rodgers, man, what he does with his defense is incredible. And I can only wonder what Aaron Rodgers would do with that Patriots defense and Bill Belichick. Regardless whether you think he's better than Brady or not, we can all agree on this. He's a top 2 quarterback in this league. He's a cinch every year to throw less than 10 interceptions, to throw more than 30 touchdowns, and to have one of the best passer ratings in the league. A career passer rating of 104 thus far in his NFL career, and I think he could be headed for his 3rd regular season MVP, which would be really nice to add to his resume. Aaron Rodgers is fantastic, but we already know that. We move on to their wide receiver position. And I love their wide receivers, starting with Jordy Nelson. And some people don't think he's a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. To that I say, ha! I mean, this guy is tremendous. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is great, but you don't just fall into 1,200 yards every year the way Jordy Nelson has done for 3 of the past 4 seasons. And the one season he didn't, he was injured, for God's sake. He got 1,500 a couple of years ago, 1,500 receiving yards I'm talking about. Jordy Nelson is fantastic, man. He abuses cornerbacks for a living. He gets open consistently. He's so skilled, refined. He's great. He may not be the athletic monster some people look for, but the guy is very, very good. Jordy Nelson, but it's not just him. You also have Davante Adams, who can drop some passes, I'll give you that, but he continues to improve, I'd say. Randall Cobb, he doesn't continue to improve, but he's still a nice slot wide receiver, right? A lot of teams would like to have Randall Cobb in the slot. Outside of those guys, you don't have much. But what I do like about what you have is you have a bunch of young guys that you took with decent draft capital. Jeff Janis, who had a big time catch against Arizona Cardinals that we all remember. Trevor Davis, who you took last year in the draft, I believe out of University of California. And this year, you took a couple of wide receivers as well. You still have Geronimo Allison, who's injured, who's going to miss the first week of the season. We'll see how he does after that. But this year, you drafted Malachi Dupre and D'Angelo Yancey out of Purdue. So, I mean, there's likely a good shot that one of those guys really ends up being a nice contributor when you have all those guys that have been drafted recently. So I like having these young, draft picks to learn behind Nelson, Cobb, and Davante Adams. I like the wide receivers in Green Bay. But beyond the wide receivers, we have yet another strength, because that's how good this team is, and that would be the offensive line. Left tackle David Bakhtiari. He's found a nice home at the left tackle position. Right tackle Brian Bulaga might be the best right tackle in the league. I think he's top 5, maybe not the best, but damn it, he's good. Center, Corey Linsley. He's going to be the starter there definitively now that J.C. Treader is out of the door. Jari Evans will be making a home at right guard after the departure of T.J. Lang. Probably won't be as good as Lang, but I think Evans will still be fine. He's been really consistent for years now, being a good right guard in this league. And left guard right now, it should be Lane Taylor. We'll see. They're having a bit of a competition right now, but it should be Lane Taylor, who we don't really know. I mean, he's okay. Last year he played decent to me. We'll see if he can continue to do that. Don Barclay, maybe he'll get in the conversation. And I think Jason Spriggs should look to get in that conversation as well. I mean, remember, he was the first pick or second round pick last year for the Packers out of Indiana. Maybe he should get in the conversation there for left guard. We'll see how that situation develops as time moves on. But it's nice to know that, I mean, it's not that Spriggs is bad, it's just that, hey, our offensive line is so good, you just can't, get on the field. This is unfortunate, but this is the case. Now, I really wanted to put another strength on here at the defensive line position, but I decided not to. Also, safeties, I considered it, and I put them in terms of positions that were neither strengths nor weaknesses. We'll get into those in a second. Let's talk about the weaknesses first. Weaknesses for me, we have to start at the cornerback position, obviously. You look at the cornerbacks right now, they're not very good. Now, last year, they struggled due to some injuries, but also they just didn't play very well. Look at Quentin Rollins. He had a disappointing year after an encouraging first season. Demarius Randall, he had a disappointing year last year. Both of them really couldn't stay healthy. They were hampered by injuries. Ladarius Gunter, don't love him. Davon House, don't love him. The cornerbacks, they're young, and perhaps they'll again bounce back. But last year, man, they just struggled. Kentrell Bright, sometimes he comes down and he plays corner, and now you lost Micah Hyde in free agency. A bunch of guys in this cornerback room right now. You also drafted Kevin King in the second round of this year's draft, coming out of the University of Washington. So a bunch of young guys who can solidify themselves as even starting cornerbacks in this league, because they're starting right now because they have to, but I don't think any of them are starter level right now in the NFL, just to be honest with you. Rollins and Randall were fine the rookie years, but after that they haven't been. So to me, they need to re-solidify themselves. Who's going to step up? Maybe Kevin King will. I wasn't a big fan of him coming out of college, but maybe he will. We look at the linebackers. This may surprise you, and I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's very good. Okay, we look at the outside linebackers. Nick Perry, okay, he had a nice year last year, had a breakout year for him, 11 sacks. Okay, I like him. But Clay Matthews, look, I've been debating Packer fans about this. I debated them all last year about this. I don't think he's that good anymore, and I don't know how you can argue he is. I mean, do you really look at Clay Matthews the past couple years and think that he's anywhere close to his 2010, 11, 2012 form? I mean, he's not even close to his form back then in those days. He was a dominant linebacker in this league, up there with one of the top outside linebackers in the NFL. Now, he kind of roams around, kind of flies around, doesn't really make consistent plays, misdiagnoses plays, doesn't recognize plays, not great against the run, missing tackle. I mean, Clay Matthews, he's not bad, but he's just not impactful anymore like he used to be. In the inside linebackers, you look at Blake Martinez. Okay, this guy can still continue to improve, but I mean, I don't think he was that impressive last year. Jake Ryan, he's only okay. Outside linebackers beyond Nick Perry and Clay Matthews, I'm intrigued by Kyler Fackrell, whom you took last year out of Utah State. I liked him coming out. I liked that draft pick when you took him. But we'll see what he can do. I actually think he's encouraging as a pass rusher in this league, although he struggled a bit against the run last year. But to me right now, the linebackers, they're just not great. So for this team, it's a weakness. Now, it's better than a lot of teams in the NFL. But for this team, for the Packers, it's a weakness for this team. It just is. Okay, so we look at the other positions for this team that are neither strengths nor weaknesses. I went running backs. Now, some of you may have expected me to say running backs are a weakness, and I almost put it as a weakness too. But the funny thing is about the running backs last year for the Packers, I mean, they ran the ball well when they ran the ball. I mean, you look at Ty Montgomery, 5.9 yards per carry. Eddie Lacy, 5.1. Now he's gone, right? But Montgomery's still there, and he almost got 6 yards a carry. I mean, a lot of that was like, wide receiver sweeps, and those are normally easier to get yards than like a halfback counter or something. But it's still encouraging, right? If Eddie Lacy can average 5 yards a carry, Jamaal Williams, who's coming in from BYU, he should be able to get like 4.5. Even Aaron Ripkowski got 4.4 last year. James Starks is the running back that really struggled last year. I think he just stinks now. I think that's just his problem. So even though they didn't run the ball very well last year and they don't have a definitive running back that you love, I mean, their offensive line makes headway, so I think they're going to be fine in terms of their running game. So I did not put running backs as a weakness for this team. I think Jamaal Williams is going to step up this rookie year. We're going to talk about him a little bit more in a second. The defensive line, it could be a strength, but I couldn't say quite yet. Mike Daniels is great. Look at Kenny Clark. I really like this guy, but he didn't play much last year, about 300 snaps. This year should play over 500, probably even 800 and he should step up. I loved him coming out of UCLA. Let's see what he can do this upcoming season. Other than those guys, though, Dean Lowry out of Northwestern, what will he do? Last year didn't play much at all. I don't know. You drafted Montravius Adams this year out of Auburn. Guy that was a little inconsistent at Auburn, went in the second round for a reason. Second or third round, actually. Maybe even the fourth. So, you know, there are some inconsistencies with him. And LaTroy Guion, I think he's done, right? This guy's been having off-the-field issues. He was caught with weed or something like that. Just some BS happened with LaTroy Guion. And apparently he may be off the roster by the time the season rolls around. So, the defensive line is not a weakness, but to me it's not a strength either. But if Kenny Clark is really good, it could definitely be a strength for this football team. The safeties are good, and I damn near put it as a strength. Okay, Clinton Dix continues to improve. Young, promising safety like him. Morgan Burnett, very good. I want him to stay healthy, but he's very good. The safeties were really close to being a strength. Obviously, man, we have a very good positional groupings here in Green Bay. I mean, obviously, man, this roster is very good. And you look at the tight end position, Martellus Bennett, I almost put as a strength. I really could have. I really could have. But I want to see another year from Martellus Bennett. I want to know if it was just Tom Brady that helped him out. But either way, I mean, Martellus Bennett is very good anyway. So this is pretty much the strength of this football team. I just wanted to limit it to about 3 strengths. Okay, so just give me a break. We move on to some fantasy projections for the Green Bay Packers this year. Aaron Rodgers, 4,500 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. This will be his second best season, and I think he's going to get it. I expect Aaron Rodgers to absolutely kill it this season. I think they're going to be way more in sync in the Green Bay Packers offense this year, and Rodgers is just going to kill it. Running back Jamaal Adams, I think he's going to steal the running back job away from Ty Montgomery. By mid-season, he's going to put up 150 carries, 700 yards, and 4 or 5 touchdowns. And he could start week 1. I'm already hearing rumblings that he could start week 1. Look out for Jamaal Williams. Draft him in your fantasy leagues. Okay, you love running backs that are going to start for great teams like the Packers, man. They're going to be ahead in games. They're going to be running the ball often, like Jamaal Williams, a lot coming out of BYU. And wide receiver Jordy Nelson, 85 catches, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. You know, the nice stereotypical year for Jordy Nelson. I think a little bit lower on the catches this year because there's just so many Green Bay weapons now, especially with Martellus Bennett being added to the fold, man. It's crazy. The Packers are so dangerous. Bold predictions for this team. Again, Jamaal Adams steals the starting job by midseason, and he could even start week 1. Look out for him possibly starting week 1, but I think they will roll with Montgomery, but Jamaal Adams will even get carries week 1, and he's going to get a significant amount, at least 8 carries week 1. Bold prediction number 2, the Packers go to Pittsburgh and beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh week 12. Okay, week 12, I think it's on Sunday night. Yes, it is. I'm looking at it now. And they beat him, okay? In Pittsburgh, huge game. It's going to be billed as a potential Super Bowl matchup, and the Packers go get it done, and they beat Pittsburgh, similar to how Dallas beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh last year. And also, bold prediction number 3, the Packers win the NFC North with at least 2 weeks left, okay? I think with at least 2 weeks left, the Packers will have the NFC North wrapped up. I think the Vikings are going to be decently good, but I think there's going to be a 3-game difference between them and the Packers, even though the Vikings will be competing for the playoffs this year. I mean, I just don't think the Packers, to me, are the only clear playoff team in this division. I'm going with the Packers all day, every day. We look at the Green Bay Packers schedule this upcoming season, and to me, it's a decent schedule. Okay, again, you're in the NFC North, but you swept the Lions last year, okay? And I'm expecting y'all to sweep them again. They did get a little bit better, I'd say, but I think, you know, they always like to regress after their playoff years. I talked about this yesterday. Lions fans didn't like it, but that's fine. They can get over it. And to me, you improved, right? And yes, last year you really dealt with issues chemistry-wise, and you still swept them. Okay, so what's going to happen this year when those chemistry issues are gone? Give me the Packers to sweep the Lions. Will you sweep the Vikings? You know, to me, I'm going to say no. You know, to me, you certainly could. I'm just going to say no just to be safe. And you should sweep the Bears. The Bears, you'll sweep the Bears this year, no question there. Rodgers gets it done against these bad teams. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. We move on to the other divisions you guys face, you guys also go up against the AFC North. And I think you could be 4-0 against the AFC North, man. I think you beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. That's my prediction. You know, Pittsburgh's dangerous. Pittsburgh's good. But you never really know, like, what they're going to look like mid-season. They could go through a cold streak. Like, they have random hot streaks and cold streaks. And this guy's injured. And this guy's having this problem. And this guy's suspended. You guys are more consistent. I trust right now the Packers to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh in Week 12. Now, if we reach that point, don't be surprised if I pick the Steelers. But for now, I like the Packers. So I think it'd be 4-0 because you host the Ravens. That's fine. You go to Cleveland. Come on, that's easy. It's nice to go to Cleveland and win because that way you don't have to go to Cincinnati, which would be more dangerous. So then now you host Cincinnati and you'll beat them. So to me, that's a nice distribution there. You would prefer to host Pittsburgh rather than travel to them. That is harder. But to me, it's fine. I think you're going to beat Pittsburgh. And then we look at the other division you guys face. You guys also go up against the NFC South. Okay, this is interesting. You go to Atlanta for what is set to be another big-time showdown. And although I think you'll go to Pittsburgh and win, I think I'm going to have the Falcons winning this one. But, man, it will be close and it will be interesting. We'll look out for this matchup, certainly. We look at the other matchups. You host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. To me, that should be a win, but they will be dangerous. You go to Carolina, and this is dangerous. You know, I think Carolina is going to be a playoff caliber team. I'm going to say this is a surprise L for you. I'm going to say that. And then you guys also host the Saints. Saints on the road in Green Bay. Give me the Green Bay Packers. I think it's 3-1 against that division. And you also go up against teams that finish concurrently with you in the NFC. You go to Dallas. Don't love that. I have that as an L right now. Even though I think it'll be Dallas record-wise. Dallas, they're dangerous. You did beat them last year in Dallas for the playoff game. I understand that. To me, if we run that game back, I think Dallas probably wins. You can disagree. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever you want to say, okay? Just pick somebody. So, anyway, we move on to the other matchup. You guys also go up against the Seahawks. Week 1, I think it's a win. I think now you guys are able to beat the Seahawks. I think you've gotten over that little curse y'all had. The Seahawks are now not a big problem for you, so that's fine. And we move on to my final win-loss prediction for the Green Bay Packers. Best case scenario, 14-2. I don't see 15-1 or 16-0 because your defense to me isn't quite good enough yet. You know, the Patriots, they're going to go probably one of those records, right? They're going to go over 13-3 most likely because their defense is very good. It's going to be a top 10 defense. Packers, I don't know, right? The Titans put up points on y'all last year. The Redskins put up points on y'all last year, and it was ridiculous. It was absolutely preposterous. I can't believe y'all still lost those games as bad as you did, right? And there's a possibility we're still going to have a couple games like that. So I have best case scenario 14-2. Worst case scenario 10-6. You go through some more stupid chemistry issues like you did last season, and you only go 10-6. And by the way, this is assuming you're healthy, okay? I always assume health in my best and worst case scenarios. But my prediction is 12-4. This is a good, safe prediction for the Packers. They'll lose their fair share of games. They may lose in Atlanta. They may lose in Dallas. Maybe I'll be wrong and they lose in Pittsburgh and they'll lose in Carolina. But they could win every other game, right? And then maybe they'll, you know, instead of losing in Atlanta, they'll lose in Minnesota. They're going to lose games, but they're going to win the NFC North to me. They're going to be, right now, I have them being the best team in the NFC. But it wouldn't shock me if the Falcons ended up being better, the Cowboys ended up being better, so we'll look out for them, or even the Seahawks. But I like this team right now. Do I like them to win the Super Bowl? Well, you have to stick around and subscribe for that, as I'll be talking about the Green Bay Packers and all the other teams in the NFL as the season rolls on. But let me just say this. I like y'all's chances. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Green Bay Packers. What are yours? Comment down below. I want to know. Again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to go down to the description box. Check out the article on sportsfanentertainment.com for the article previewing the Packers. Subscribe, like, comment this video. Check out SFE and all of our social media links down in the description box below. And until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.